Hello, and thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to join me today. I do apologize, I'm trying a new setup. I hope that this video finds you in good health, and if there's something in here that you find of a benefit to you, that you can subscribe, and share it with somebody else. So today I'm going to try something a little different. I have a written out script, which I normally do, but I'm going to go a little offbeat at the moment. Maybe I'll get to that in a little bit. First, I wanted to talk about, while I'm for going green, I grew up across the street from an oil refinery, believe it or not. What people have forgotten in the process of going from crude oil to gasoline, there's 140 different products or items that are produced from the process of taking it from crude oil to gasoline. Now we're trying to go ahead and eliminate crude oil altogether. So my biggest question becomes, how are we going to replace that 140 other odd things as well when we get to the point that we can't afford cheap energy? As I mentioned in one of my past videos, cheap energy is what helps keep America as a superpower. The fact that we can produce it so cheaply, so efficiently, and it's so ready for everything. We would not be here as a society today if it wasn't for the fact that we, unlike the Egyptians or any other advanced civilization, what separates us from them is the use of electricity, cheap energy. Now, with that as a basis, again, there's 140 products that are made. I guess what I'm kind of getting to is I think we should reconsider growing hemp farms. Hemp is one of the products that was considered by our founding fathers the cash crop of America. Why not, instead of subsidizing corn, we start subsidizing hemp? Oh, wait, it's because of the paper industry in the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s. The head of the paper industry was pushing and lobbying to eliminate hemp. Because after all, when was the last time you saw a Bible made of hemp? Somebody told me, oh, it's become church law that you don't use cannabis. And I'm thinking, yeah, but where in the book does it say it? It even says that you can drink wine, just do so in moderation, to not abuse, to not let the habits of drifting or allow the addiction, alcohol, whatever, to become part of that lends itself to the habit of drifting from what your intended purpose is. Anyways, our forefathers, they used to pay their taxes in hemp. That is how much we used hemp. We used it for clothing, we used it for paper, but again, also, it was also seen at the time as a cheap tobacco. It was the poor man's tobacco, they called it, which was referring mainly to the immigrants, because at the time, the white population was busy using cocaine. Then you had the migrant workers, and you had the African Americans that tended to use the cheaper tobacco, as it was called and referred to back then, as a side name. Of course, now it's got more names than we know, but, well, I can think of quite a few. Anyways, but instead of subsidizing corn, our U.S. government should actually look into subsidizing hemp. After all, right now, they're claiming that the climate change is due to carbon. And they're using the fact that our government is telling us through the Environmental Protection Agency, and we won't even get into the new Homeland Environmental Protection Agency that has recently been formed. I'll get into that most likely in another video. But the Environmental Protection Agency is the one who's saying nitrogen is killing off all the grass and blah, 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 and it's the cows that are doing the nitrogen. But here's the thing. One of the main differences biologically between men and women is women, their urine tends to consist of a higher concentration of ammonia. Males tend to have a higher concentration of nitrogen. So when you're looking at cows and they're saying, wait, the nitrogen is destroying the wildlife and we need to get rid of the cows, 30% of all American herds have to be culled. As a matter of fact, that's what's going on in the Netherlands. I have to ask myself, wait a second here, there's something a little odd. Anyways, and now they're also saying carbon is part of what's causing global warming. 87, I believe it's 87, I'll have to double check, but 87% of the Earth's atmosphere is based on carbon. There's a new scientific research paper that came out. I believe it's RNA is actually produced from volcanic glass and water. And this is an experiment that can actually be produced in the classroom. I mean, that just kind of blows my mind that glass from the great bombardment. I mean, again, God works in mysterious ways. From the great planetary bombardment that was going on, that lava mixed with water actually created RNA, the initial building blocks for life, which created the purple fungus, which breathed in carbon and exhaled oxygen. Thus is why we have about 5% of the atmosphere of Earth is oxygen. Something that we need. So they're telling us right now we need to control the carbon, our carbon footprint. Carbon is what helps makes plants grow. I believe there's been a study also that shows that a hemp plant produces more oxygen than a tree. Now, we're not saying the big redwoods that are 1,000 years old that are currently burning to utter ash. Thank you, California. But most trees that you have around, we should have more hemp fields. And I'm not saying this has to be medical quality cannabis, just plain old hemp. It used to grow like a weed here in the U.S. till about the 1930s, when they utterly destroyed it everywhere because it became illegal. It's interesting. But again, what motivated and what politics at the time were motivated in causing it to become illegal as we know it today, because 100 years ago, again, it was legal, it was being grown. It's something that George Washington encouraged the American people as a whole to grow, to pay our taxes with. So, I'm just saying, consider, maybe we should look into growing some hemp fields instead of all this corn, because what's corn good for? Oh, wait, it still makes plastics, and microplastics are everywhere. Obviously, corn is not the solution because corn also has no nutritional value whatsoever. But of course, you've got Canadian companies right now that want you to eat the bugs. Oh, boy. Anyways, it's not the end, it's just preparing it for them, if that's the case. If you're one of those believers. But that gets into a whole nother thing. I want to take a moment to point out the picture I've taken. It's one of the new ones. Yes, this was taken by me. It's of a moonrise here. When I was out for my walk, I happened to catch it. It just happens to be a really nice picture with some clouds, and I hope that y'all enjoy the new background. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to join me. I know this one's a bit short, but it's just something I wanted to throw out there. It's been bugging me for a little while. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear what your opinion is on this as well. Thank you very much. Have a very beautiful day. United we stand, divided we fall, and God bless America.